Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, and as graduation is tomorrow, it makes perfect sense to have Dr. Ember Conley here on the program. Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Terrific to have you.
Thank you.
We've got a lot to talk about. You guys, you know, it's not like you really shut down for summer. You're busy all the time.
We don't.
Yeah.
No, we have a full crew during the summer, less the students and the teachers.
Right?
Yep.
It reminds me of something we used to say at the airlines. This would be a great airline for all these passengers.
Right?
So for a little while you get a respite from those students. You guys could get some work done.
We do. You know, my inbox does get a little bit smaller during the summer, but we're definitely very busy preparing for the following year.
It's amazing to think about what you guys pack into the 10 months of school.
Right.
It is impressive. And with that, obviously, big part of that's planning and make sure you have the right people and so many other things. Talk about that for a moment.
Right. So I would say, you know, we have two priorities when you look at planning for a school district. One is to hire the very best people to be able to teach and to be with our students. And the second is having a strong curriculum and instruction plan in place. And that's what we do. Basically, the very first day that school starts, we start planning for the following year. And with some of the items that we're going to be talking about, especially our 2-bell change, we're already starting to plan that.
A 2-bell change, talk about that. What does that mean?
Right now, so we have 3 start times, one for the high school in Treasure Mountain, one for our elementaries, and then we have one for Ecker Hill. So for instance, the high school starts about 7:30. Our elementary start between 8:10 and 8:15, and then Ecker Hill starts around 8:50. So as we've looked at the science and ways to address the mental well-being of our students, specifically our adolescent students, science between the American Medical Association, pediatrics, all of them say—
They all need to sleep later.
Sleep later. And having a teenager that just left my home and went to college for her first year, that lived it, breathed it, we know what that says. And so the school district really came into a decision that we wanted to proactively address that. There was new legislation saying please start changing start times, and so we've done that. There is a cost impact that the governing board basically said we're willing to do.
Wow.
Right, so we are moving from a 3-bell system to a 2-bell system.
Okay.
And what that looks like is, first of all, we've got to be able to work with the city and the county around traffic. We know that that's been our biggest obstacle coming in on 248.
It is amazingly busy.
It is. And so, you know, what are some of those out-of-the-box options that we can look at? The HOV lane, having a bus lane, even having some park and rides further out of town and having shuttles in.
Really?
So right. So we're looking at a lot of out-of-the-box ideas that I think are that will come with a solution to how we can best meet the needs of our students and our community members.
That is amazing. Well, you know, I've seen this with my adolescents that there's no waking them much before 7. It's not a good time for them. They need that sleep, and as you said, that's what the evidence bears out.
It is so strong, and as the time goes on and more school districts change, there's been positive effects around that. The unfortunate thing has been that we do have some pretty major obstacles around the traffic, around busing, and that it will be a cost impact to our taxpayers.
And it's not easy for the parents either sometimes, because they've got to be at work at a certain time, so sometimes this can make it a little more difficult for them.
And that's part of our planning, to look at our before and after school care. We have free breakfast in all of our elementaries, so there's a lot of—
Which is sometimes the only breakfast that they might get.
That's correct.
We've got to remind ourselves that here in Park City, that's true, just like it is in every other community.
Yep, we have over 25% of our students that qualify for free and reduced lunch.
Wow.
So that's something that we take very seriously, because the other part of mental well-being is, of course, nutrition. Are we providing, you know, healthy food and also enough food?
Oh, that's great. I love the strides you guys are taking in that, in both, you know, offering the extra meals, but cleaning up the type of meals that are available as well.
Right.
Huge.
We have a great partnership with Eats, very, very active, engaged community partner group. And it's while there's been challenges, the common ground is that we want the very best nutrition for our students.
That's awesome. We also want the best pay for our teachers, and they are, no matter what we do, they're never going to get what they deserve, I think.
Thank you for saying that.
No, it's the truth. I have, after having my son's birthday the other day and realizing that 10 kids for 2 hours was impossible for me, I don't know how a teacher does 20 plus for an entire day. It's beyond my imagination.
Servant's heart. That's
right?
That's what we are.
It's just amazingly difficult. Talk to me about this pay increase that's coming to them.
Right.
It's about time.
Thank you. And I think that was, as the governing board went into negotiations with our teachers and our licensed staff, which also, when we talk about license, it includes our counselors.
Don't forget that.
It includes
secretaries,
our counselors, our special education teachers. And we did have an increase from the state at the state level. So we have state funding called the weighted per pupil unit, and there was a 4% increase from the state. But as we looked at, we want to bring recognition to the profession of education, but also recognize that Park City is very unique in the way that, one, the high expectations for excellence, as well as having the very best teachers. And then, of course, we have affordability of living in Park City. Yeah. And it's a biggie.
It is a huge issue because I don't know how any teacher can afford to live here. I can't afford to live here. I'm sure that there's teachers, most teachers can't. Right. The poverty line here is $70,000. That's crazy.
It is.
And like I said, I don't know that we're ever going to reach the mark we need to, really.
And I would say we're taking small steps towards, first of all, raising their salaries. So we now have the highest starting base salary for a beginning teacher in the state.
Wow.
Right, so that's fantastic, but we did something a little bit different. Some other districts across the state raised their base salary for starting teachers, but didn't address all the rest of the teachers. What we did is we made a pay increase for all teachers. It's about $7,000 per year for every single teacher.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
We also added 2 additional professional development days in which they'll get paid.
That's great.
It's great.
Those are the days when we said, as you and I discussed a minute ago when we opened this, the days without the students, the days when you can get your curriculum lined up, the days when you can correct some papers, the days that you can plan ahead for the next thing.
Well, and it's also the model that we use. We use a model called professional learning communities, and it's all based on the idea that teachers get together, that they collaborate, that they're looking at student data and making specific decisions around individual students and changing instruction. You can't do that when you have a room full of students. So that time is very important to all of us.
I think it's so important when we start integrating, as you said, what some of the other teachers are teaching, so that when that student says, well, I don't understand why math is so important, that we're telling them why it's important in their English class when they're reading a book about a scientist. Or there's so many other ways to integrate that and make sure that that message is clear and that we're reinforcing the learning.
And that's really the changes that we're making curricularly, is the integrated approach. There's some confusion around a model that we're going to be moving towards problem-based learning, and so people are thinking, what is that?
Right.
What that is integrating all of the contents, social studies, science, math, reading, writing, into projects that the students actively engage in and learn all of the contents that are integrated, rather than we're going to math class and we don't understand why we're learning what we're learning.
Right. It just works. That's all you need to know.
Right.
And that was never something that fit well with me.
No.
Yeah.
Most students, it doesn't.
They want the why.
And that's something, as we look at education in Park City, we want our students engaged and challenged, safe, of course, that's the #1 priority, and healthy. And so all of the things that we're doing as we move forward, those are the focus areas.
Wow. You guys have obviously, that focus has obviously paid off as we've looked at the awards that you've brought in just the last few weeks, looking at the recognition from U.S. News and World Report, among others. You got to be so proud.
We're thrilled, but we also know we still have a lot of work to do, and that's the part that gets you up every morning and come to work, because we know that there's still students that we need to do a better job with, and that's the planning that we do. We're thrilled to announce that we have a nominee for a Blue Ribbon School. Wow. Jeremy Ranch Elementary School is a nominee, and that's a national award, so we're really excited. We're keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll be the winner.
Well, that's great. I only wish that I was able to attend all of my years here at Park City.
Right?
Right? just think of how well-rounded I'd be if just for that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ember Conley. Again, it's great to have you here. We have just one moment left. So there was some recognition for some specific teachers as well, not to mention the high school getting the award for being the most challenging in the state. Is that right?
Yep.
That says
most
something.
challenging in the state.
Yeah.
And I would say it's a lot, first of all, because we have excellent staff.
Yeah.
The second is that we have a depth and breadth of programs for a one high school that's unprecedented.
Wow.
For the number of career and tech ed programs from biomedical to EMT certification, but also the number of advanced placement classes that we offer.
Wow, amazing work that you guys have done. I'm so proud. We're so proud that you were here to hear more about it and to join us for the Mountain Morning Show. We couldn't be happier to have you. We look forward to that again tomorrow from 7 to 11. Until then, make sure you get outside. I'm Joe Davis. We'll see you right here on Park City Television.